I absolutely hate painting. It drives me mental. Okay, so painting this wall behind me brought nothing but misery to me because of the fact that the blocks were just absorbing every bit of paint that I put near them, and I had to use a roller. Okay, but I've decided I have to think of something better than that. So I popped down to my local hardware shop and I bought this. It is a HVLP spray gun, and it actually came as part of a whole set which included a few other items like a tyre pressure gauge, a blowgun, a pneumatic hose, a few other bits and pieces, and it was only 37 quid. So this is El Cheapo spray gun at its absolute finest, and it's going to be absolutely fine for painting emulsion onto these walls. I've never used a HVLP spray gun before, so it's probably a good place to start. Arguably, you could probably pick up a better thing to start with. But sure, look, here we are. So let's see how we get on. Okay, so what I know about mixing paints and spraying paints and everything like that, you could write on the back of a postage stamp, to tell you the truth. But what I do know is that this is not going to spray very thick paint, and the Berger Super Flat Emulsion that I'm using is fairly thick, a bit like myself. But yeah, I need to thin it out. Now, because of the fact that it's a water-based paint, we're just going to use water to thin it out. So yeah, I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Now, I'll put a pair of gloves on because, just for the sake of simplicity and cleanliness and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to transfer a reasonable amount into this offcut of a 2-litre milk carton. And unfortunately, the milk that was in it was sour, so the workshop is stinking of sour milk now, which is marvellous. Terrific indeed. But sure, look, we'll be fine. Now, don't worry about the paint on the bench. I can wipe that off. It's, as I said, it's water-based. That's still wet. I'll do that after we're finished. But now I'm going to add a bit of paint to this, and we're going to mix it up. I have my mixing stick here. First things first, mix what's in the container, because although I was using it not that long ago, it's not a bad idea just to give it another little stir. And we shall pour some of this into our milk carton. Okay. Now, next is to add a bit of water. And we just want to thin it out enough so that it's fairly runny, but it doesn't need to be insanely runny either. So, in that little bit of water seems to have kind of gotten it fairly close to what you would want. So, I don't know how well it's illustrated on camera there, but it's pretty runny. There's a bit of texture to it there, but it's not, like, yeah, you could go a bit runnier again, but I think, to be honest with you, I think it'll be fine. So now, let's put some in our paint sprayer. Now, I did actually read the instructions on the paint spray gun, so I came over all funny when I did that, but there you go. So there, I'm going to add the entire contents of that and put that back in there just to stop it from dripping all over the bench, even though there's stuff all over the bench as it is. Put this on next, and I'm going to fire up the compressor. The compressor should be already fairly well charged, but I shall turn it on and we'll get set up and see how we fare out. Now, there are two controls, well, three really, three controls on the paint sprayer, right? One is this lad here on the side, which will control the width of the fan that comes out of the spray gun. So the more I screw that in, the narrower a beam, essentially, I get. This one on the back here controls the amount you can pull the trigger in. So if I screw that all the way in, it limits the travel of the trigger, so it means that my if I pull it in all the way, I'm not going to blast a whole lot of paint all over the place. And then lastly, you can turn the nozzle so that it's either vertical or horizontal. Now, although the two kind of lads here are horizontal, that actually means it's a vertical spray pattern. So that's kind of what I want at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I have a lot of the wall along here, as you can see, is actually already painted. And to tell you the truth, it's probably fairly all right. But down the far end there in the corner is not painted yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn you guys around. I'm going to get the compressor set up and we're going to give it a try out down there and see what happens. And if I end up covered head to toe in white paint, then we know what's happened. On my compressor here, there's a pressure regulator. Any compressor is going to have a pressure regulator. And I have it set there now, so the output is 3 bar. It was wound up to the last, so when you're running air tools, like, you know, an impact gun or something like that, you're going to want a bit of pressure. Whereas with a spray gun, they say kind of 3 bar is about as much as you'd ever want out of it. So I've got that turned right down to 3 bar, which is great because it means that this compressor has got more than enough juice to run that spray gun. And you know, I'll get a good coverage before it even kicks in, to tell you the truth. So the other thing as well I need to do is get a Drager mask. So I'm going to root one out and stick that on as well, so at least I'm not breathing in the fumes of the paint, which will be atomized by the spray gun. All right, wish me luck, folks. Nothing coming out. Okay, we're getting a tiny bit now. I think I need to up the pressure. Let me have a look at the manual. Okay, so I had a bit of a flute around off camera with this, and 2 things I found. One is I had to thin out the paint a hell of a lot more than I had, and 2 is the air pressure was way too low. So there's 2 things I needed to put right. Now we're getting places. So I'm going to just put the Drager mask on for a second, and we're going to have a go. Let's try making a finer point. Oh yeah. It's still going to take a long time, but it's a hell of a lot easier. Okay, so it's still not the fastest way of doing this job, in fairness, but what I'm going to try and do in the next gun full of it, I'm going to water it down a bit more. So maybe I'll do a 50-50 mix between the actual emulsion and the water, and we'll see how we go from there. Now, the other thing is, because of the fact that I've already kind of painted a lot of this wall with the roller, the second coat I'm going to do in this section here is also going to be with the roller, because it's just going to look gash if I don't do it that way. So I'm going to give it a quick going over with that, and at least that way then that's this wall pretty much finished. and we can kind of move on to other parts of the workshop then as well. But one thing I will say is that it's making a big difference to how bright this workshop actually is. So I knew it would, in fairness. I mean, common sense, in fairness. But that said, it's still it's nice to see. So yeah, I'll continue on undeterred. Now is out with the roller, and we'll get back to the spray gun after. One of the things that's great about this is the fact that getting the areas in between the blocks, like the joins, is proving to be a hell of a lot faster, because I had to do them with a brush. So yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's going to save a lot of time. And also, given it the second coat with the roller here, it's hardly taking any time at all now, whereas before, like, literally one roller would get you maybe 1.5 blocks before you had to put more paint on. How anybody can do this as a career, a career is beyond me, though. I'd hate it. Takes all sorts, though. A lot of people would hate my job as well. You know what? It'll do. It's fine. By the time that dries, you're not going to really see the difference. Anyway, look, it did actually work out well, being able to do in between the blocks with the pressure sprayer, and giving it the first coat with the spray gun as well also made the rolling process a hell of a lot easier. So definitely a win there. But I think I probably still will have to roll for the second coat. You know. Although we'll see what happens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thin out that paint an awful lot more this time, and I'm going to see how it comes out. I might even just leave this wall having been done with the roller, and then do the rest of them just with the spray gun, and we'll see. But I mean, like, the thing about it is, like the window reveals and the around the doors and stuff like that, I'm going to have to roll or brush anyway. Yeah, the fact. Those bloody sparrows are getting vicious at this stage. They're swooping around me here. They're getting ready to head off to Africa. Sooner the better. Anyway, right, I'm going to mix up 50-50 water and paint, see how we get on, and we'll go from there. All right, let's see how this goes. Let's see if we can increase the fan width. Okay, so what have we learned so far? The coverage, when you mix it 50-50, is absolutely appalling. And the blocks just absorb the paint and the water mix. But that might not be the worst thing in the world, because at least if the blocks are, let's just say, fed, then whatever I put over the top is going to stay on the top. So at least that's my theory anyway, and I'm sticking with it, okay? So let's, do we leave it to dry? Or do we just try it with the roller now and see what happens? I'm tempted to just try it with a roller and see what happens. And if it does, we'll try it in a bit, see if it works. And if not, then what we'll do is we'll let it dry. And if it goes on really easy now, then maybe this is the way to go. The only thing is, my God, it makes like, I think I need to get a few fans in here or something. Although I'm using the Draeger mask, it's burning the eyes out of my head, even with the goggles and everything like that. But that water mix, it's very, very atomized. So yeah, it's not really ideal, to be honest with you. So look, it's a learning curve, folks. That's why I decided I'd make this video, is because I'm trying to figure it out as we go along. So I have the doors open, I have windows open and stuff like that as well, so fear not in that regard. But yeah, we'll let's try with the roller, see what happens. The other thing I'm finding is there's paint bloody everywhere. It's going to take me ages to clean all of this up now. I wouldn't mind, I actually had the workshop looking quite well before I started all this. But I wanted to do it before I move any cars in. I still haven't collected the MG, and I'm kind of I've got a quote for a tow truck to collect it. It's pricey enough to tell you the truth, but it still needs to be done, so we'll do it. But you know, it's kind of lower on my list of priorities at the moment. We've other little things to be doing anyway. Gosh, look, that's just coming straight off again. Let's leave that dry. I'm gonna assume that it's kind of made some sort of an impact. I'll come back to it tomorrow, and I'll bring you guys back as well, and you can see how things are from that point on. We may end up having to give this section here a bit of a going over as well, because I just don't like the fact that it's different. You know, it's not quite as covered as the rest of that wall. So just another coat would see that right. You know what I mean? Maybe just doing the whole wall again would be a nice way to go. I'm starting to think though that the spray gun thing is, I don't know, I'm not sold on it. Maybe it's just because it's a cheap sprayer. Maybe a better sprayer would be better equipped to do the job. My compressor is certainly keeping pace anyway, but yeah, I don't know. Several light coats are all well and good when you're doing a car and it's not getting absorbed by blocks, but you know, you need to kind of go on this thick and fast. Anyway, I'll bring you guys back tomorrow. Okay, it's a couple of days later now, and everything is obviously dry, so we can continue on. Now, I mean, obviously, as I said, coverage here was terrible with the watered down paint, but I'm hoping that it will have given a good base coat to roll upon now. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just use the spray gun to go between the blocks and any kind of hard to get areas and just roll everything else. There's no easy way out of this, folks. It's just going to be a pain in the ass. As I said, painting is painting, you know, but and I should be grateful that it's such a large area that I have to paint, you know, so I can't complain about that really, you know. But yeah, look, I'll the other thing as well is I kind of let the paint go hard in the on the roller and stuff like that. But sure, let's see how it goes on here anyway. Once I get some fresh paint on the roller and everything like that, it'll be fine. There's a few chunks, but it's a brick wall or a block wall. It doesn't matter. I think I'll just clean out that roller tray. All right. The other thing as well is I bought like a 10-litre thing of paint, and these walls are eating the paint, so I'm gonna have to get some more. I also watered it down a little bit there just to get a bit more coverage. I'm going to change my roller head for a fluffier one here and just clear off what's on this one first. Right, I have this roller here and I'm going to give it a go. It's a fluffier one, and I think, to be honest with you, I'm going to leave this video here because this is one of those videos that's just going to get really boring. Nobody wants to watch me just painting the wall white. So yeah, look, we'll in the next video you'll see the garage actually finished, because the reason I want to get this garage finished like this is because I want to collect the MG. And I can't collect the MG until I actually have a proper place to put it. And I don't want to put it in the garage while there's paint flying around and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my my mission here. So I will be doing that in the next couple of weeks. So first things first, I'll get this done, and then I also want to put some sockets in here as well. I got the lights done, as you saw in a previous video. Next thing to do is I'm going to wire in the sockets, and I'm going to bring the wiring for that back to the consumer panel as well that I'm going to be getting installed. And yeah, so at least there'll be sockets, lights, white painted walls, and space for the car. So I'll bring you back then anyway in a future video, and I will talk to you then. Thanks very much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe, and you'll see the progress of this and other car related projects. Unfortunately, the conclusion I have to draw from all of this work is that there's very little that's actually going to replace the effort and hard work involved in using a big fluffy roller and just going to town on the walls. To be honest with you, I was trying to get the lazy man's way out of it, and it just wasn't happening. But to be honest with you, it's coming together now. I'm not finished. I still have a good bit to do, but a lot of the kind of fiddly areas are done, and the area down the back here now, where you see my kind of main storage racking, is all behind there is done, and that's all dry now. And I've kind of made a start in over the corner here now as well. So, and once all of this sort of area is done, then a lot of the kind of the sort of more used areas of the garage will be fine and ready to go. So yeah, look, I'm going to just leave it there now anyway. As I said, not the most exciting video I've ever made, but I'm bringing you along on my journey anyway, and soon enough there will be kind of car progress. I really do need to get on top of a couple of jobs on the Golf at this stage. And then I want to do some stuff on the Beetle as well, and of course the MG. So, you know, I mean, there's those type of things coming up. So yeah, I hope you'll join me along the way, and I'll see you in a future video. Thanks for watching.